So hello everyone, my name is Díaz, and I will present my thesis that is titled Environmental Preference of Shark Bycaught by the Tuna purse-seine Fisheries in the which I perform in the SIVNOR under the supervision of Raúl Martínez Rincón. So first of all, as an introduction, a bit of the current state of the sharks. They are well known to be very important in different marine ecosystems since they are top predators and they maintain a balance in different trophic networks. Nevertheless, they have special life history threats like slow growth rates, late maturities, low fecundities, and long gestation periods that makes them really vulnerable against overfishing. Besides, in the last decade, these species have been captured as target and non-target species in different fisheries like long line, purse-seine, and trolling, among others, which make them to have a low resilience. That means that they are less capable to recover against overexploitation. So I will focus in the purse-seine fishery that targets tuna in the Eastern Pacific Ocean. But first of all, how does this purse-seine fishery works? So with high technology, they locate the different aggregations of tuna, and when they manage to locate them, they surround them, they follow them, and they surround them until they manage to catch the whole aggregation. Nevertheless, they not only catch only tunas, they also catch all the other species that are associated with them, that are called bycatch. And this means the portion of a commercial fishing catch that consists of marine animals caught unintentionally. And this bycatch in this fishery includes animals like sea turtles, marlins, dolphins, and of course, sharks. So for this reason, I will focus in 6 shark species, like the blue shark and the black tip, that are considered to be as near threatened in the red list of the IUCN. Also the silky shark and the smooth hammerhead that are considered as vulnerable, and the scallop hammerhead and the oceanic white tip that are as critical endangered. Therefore, the aim of my study was to describe the environmental preference of 6 shark species within the Eastern Pacific Ocean through species distribution models using bycatch data and environmental, physical, temporal, and oceanographic variables. Now, regarding the methodology that I use, first the study area. As I said, I will focus in the Eastern Pacific Ocean. So in this figure, we can observe the catch effort of this fishery, and we can observe that they have different set types in which they capture the tuna. So they include the dolphin set, that is just the tuna aggregations that are associated with dolphins. Then they also have the non-associated sets that are just free swimming schools of tuna, and also have the floating objects that include natural or artificial, like fishing aggregating devices that are specific for attracting pelagic fishes. Moreover, in this area, there are important oceanographic and geographical features, like the equatorial current system and the Californian current Humboldt current, that flows into the equatorial current system. Besides, there are some important locations that are known for their richness and diversity of sharks, like the Revillagigedo and Galapagos archipelago, and also Galapagos and Malpelo Island. Now, regarding the data acquisition, the fishery data was obtained from the Inter-American Tropical Tuna Commission, and we obtained the number of catches in 1 degree of resolution, and also different predictor variables were obtained, including environmental, physical, temporal, and oceanographic, that were obtained in different spatial resolutions and from different sources, that at the end, they were all converted into 1 degree of resolution, so they match with the fishery data, and we are able to build the models. Now, regarding the statistical modeling, we use this formula with the Poisson family to test the collinearity among all the variables, which was not found. So we include all the variables, including environmental, physical, temporal, spatial, oceanographic, and also an operational one. With this, we were able to build the generalized additive models with the backwise stepwise procedure, using the lowest AIC values to choose the best fitted model. And here also we measured the goodness of fit with the Devines explained and the adjusted R-square. And once we have the best fitted model, we were able to obtain the environmental preference and the spatiotemporal variability through effect plots and predictive maps. Regarding the results and the discussion, first in the observed data, here we can observe the catches, the total catches per species per year, and we can see some general trends Like for example, that the silky shark is the most bycaught in this fishery with the 95% of the total catches, but also we can see a decrease in the total catches for the species of the hammerheads. In these figures, we can observe the total catch, or the catches, the distribution of the catches per year. So for example, the blue shark, we can see that there is mostly bycaught in waters around Baja California and in front of Peru. Then the black tip is more restricted to Central American waters. The silky shark is widely bycaught in all the Pacific Ocean from coastal to oceanic waters. Then the oceanic white tip is restricted to more oceanic waters. And the hammerheads have similar patterns, and they can be mostly bycaught in waters in front of Peru, around Central America, but also around the Baja California Peninsula. Moreover, we can observe that the floating objects include almost 90% of the total catches among all the species. So the best fitted models include all the 10 predictor variables, and we obtained the highest device explained for the black tip model with 52.13%, and the lowest device explained with for the oceanic white tip. Now, the environmental preference and the spatial predictions, I will present the main results obtained. So for the blue shark, our predictions indicate that it's mostly bycaught in waters around Baja California, but also in coastal waters of Peru, especially in temperate and productive waters between 20 and 25 degrees, and in highly productive waters with high concentrations of chlorophyll A. Moreover, our results indicate that this species can be mostly caught or bycaught under El Niño events, and it has been observed also that waters around Baja California during the El Niño events, they increase the productivity. Besides, this species has been recorded in literature that present a size segregation, where in the coastal areas there are more presence of juveniles, and the adults are more into offshore waters, indicating that there may be an overlap with the purse-seine fisheries with nursery areas of this species. Now, the black tip, our predictions indicate that can be mostly bycaught in waters in front of Guatemala, but also in the southern Mexico, especially in warm waters over 25 degrees and with high concentrations of chlorophyll A. Besides, this species can be mostly bycaught in waters near the continent, especially in bays and river mouths where they use these places as nursery areas. But we also observe a hotspot in oceanic waters, and this may be to the fact that since 1993 that the CERPERS program started to 2004, there were occurring misidentifications between the silky shark and the black tip, and our results may suggest so that there still may be occurring misidentifications after the revisions made in 2004. And this because in this area specifically is one of the main spots that the silky shark can be caught, as I present in the next slide. So as I was saying, the silky shark can be especially caught in this area, but also widely distributed, widely bycaught from coastal to oceanic waters, especially waters over 25 degrees, and that have a negative sea surface height and under El Niño events. And it has been observed that especially the juveniles of this species are associated to mesoscale events or mesoscale features, like eddies, and also with El Niño events. Besides, this species is caught all year long. Nevertheless, it presents higher catches during the autumn, and this may be because during the summer, this species move from the equator to higher latitudes, and this may be looking for warmer waters. Now, regarding the oceanic white tip, we can observe that it's especially caught, can be especially bycaught in waters far from the continent and oceanic waters. Also in waters over 25 degrees and with low chlorophyll A, indicating that this species prefer oceanic warm waters that are depleted in chlorophyll A. Moreover, in the literature was observed some pregnant females along 10 degrees north, indicating also that the purse-seine may be overlapping with a nursery area of a critical endangered species. Besides, this species prefers negative sea surface heights, and this may be in response to the distribution of their prey. Now, the scallop hammerhead can be mostly bycaught in waters in front of Peru, but also in waters around Baja California and southern Mexico, warm and productive waters with negative sea surface height. And this may be because these species present complex movements around reef islands, shelf break, and seamounts that have a high turbulence and a lot of eddy kinetic energy. Besides, there was a temporal variation for this species, and where occurs mostly in front of Peru during the boreal winter. And this is because during the boreal winter, the sea surface temperature of the Humboldt current increases. Now, lastly, with the smooth hammerhead, our predictions indicate that can be mostly bycaught also in waters in front of Peru, but also around Baja California Peninsula, especially in waters around 25 degrees and in neutral oceanic Niño index, indicating that this species may be not present in waters higher than 25 degrees. But also prefers water that are highly productive or with high concentrations of chlorophyll A, suggesting that their movements can be influenced by permanent upwellings like the Humboldt current that is present in here. But also in other fisheries like the gillnet, it already has been recorded an overlap with the fisheries with nursery areas, so indicating that this may be the same case with the purse-seine. And lastly, there was also a temporal variation for this species, and it was observed that this species prefers productive waters that occur at the end or after the whaling season, that the whaling season occurs during the autumn, the boreal autumn. So it makes sense that our predictions suggest this area as main catches. So to conclude, we can observe that the GAMs are a useful technique to identify the most suitable conditions in which the sharks are bycaught. Also, the sea surface temperature and the chlorophyll A can modulate the abundance and the distribution of sharks, but also physical variables like the oceanographic variables may be important for breeding and or foraging. Also, some hotspots were identified like the Baja California Peninsula and coastal and offshore waters of Peru and southern Mexico, and also some oceanic waters far from the continent. And lastly, this information can be really useful for the fisheries management in order to reduce the shark bycatch, especially for the silky shark that includes more than the 95% of the catches. Thank you very much.